Hello and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week drink along. This week we're drinking Three Sisters, which was made by you, wasn't it, Joe?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
So
yeah.
thanks for joining us. We've got Joe here from Taranaki, the founder of Three Sisters.
Yeah.
Let's put the beer together,
How you
hey?
doing? Yeah, let's do that. I'm just going to drink mine out of the can.
Oh,
Just,
heathen.
I'm a heathen, and it's just convenient. I've only got one hand as handy as well.
Well, cheers, mate. Thanks so much for
Cheers. Yeah.
so Three Sisters, what's happening?
Quite a few different things. We've got a few interesting beers coming out.
Yeah.
We're focusing a little bit more on our pastry stuff these days. Actually, pastry sours and pastry stouts and big hazies. That's where we're sort of focusing at the moment. We've been for a run of sort of rye dark lagers, and they were fun. But yeah, just seeing what the market likes and what the public likes regarding our beers. So that's where we're going.
And I suppose what you guys got a kick out of making as well, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those beers are real fun to make. So yeah, that suits us. Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited. Next week for our advent calendar, we've got one of your pastry beers lined up. So pretty excited about drinking that.
Yeah. That's good. That one. Yeah, I was happy with that one. It's got some real interesting flavors in it.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, you did have a whole run of rye beers. Me and Joe here at Beer Jerk were wondering if maybe you just ordered way too many sacks of rye at some point.
No, we just had a bit of fun making them. You know, we just got really into them. And they're great. Yeah, they're great, but they're not the biggest sellers, unfortunately. No, that's what we found. So
we enjoyed them. Maybe not your supermarket drinkers.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also the bars. You know, people go, the bars tend to keep it safe. You know, when you're selling kegs of beer to bars, a lot of them tend to play safe, and they want hazies. And fair enough, you know, they don't want stuff that might not move quickly. So they're a bit risk averse on some of the more unusual, you know, what the hell's a rye bock anyway, you know. But
well, you must do some pretty good hazies.
Yeah, no, we've had some good success with those. So no, we're pleased with those. So we just started a series of those. And the first one's out in the market. Second one will be out in a few weeks, and we're keen to sort of start pushing those. We just put a first triple hazy out, and that seems to be getting good feedback. So I might push it more into the triple hazy IPA series, just for a bit of fun.
Very cool.
Yeah,
and you've been picking up a few awards the last few years. I know there's a few little medals on the side of the can here.
Yeah, that's right. We're having to knock some of them off because we don't fit them all on. It's pretty cool. Champion Brewery, Champion Brewery problems. We've had 3 years in a row. We've had Champion Brewery medals, so Champion Brewery awards. So pretty happy with that. Yeah,
going from, because that was Champion Micro to Champion Small, wasn't it, as you grew?
Yeah, exactly. And then Champion Small International as well.
Yeah,
this year. Yeah,
so impressive. What's your secret?
Well, what's the secret? I don't really know. It's one of those things. I think the devil's in the detail. At the end of the day, it's like just taking care on every little step. That's all I can say. You know, if there's anything that we're doing right, it's every little step matters. So just be careful with it all. That's all I can pin it down to, really.
You're also an engineer, so do you think some of that meticulousness comes through to your process?
I would say probably. Yeah, I sort of I know it sort of infuriates Sarah as well, but I'm very, you know, in the kitchen. I'll write recipes down very carefully and then very carefully tweak the parameters and see what happens and stuff like that. You know, so it's just, I think that's just the way I approach things. So yeah, a bit quite methodically. Yeah.
We're talking of trial and error and methodology and approach. This is a beer brewed a few times.
Yes. Yeah, this is actually our, I'd say it's the second beer we ever made. I think, as Three Sisters. It's actually the first Three Sisters beer, because Rain in the Face was originally brewed as Bell Brewing, and then secondarily as Three Sisters. Whereas this was our first Three Sisters beer, so it's quite dear to my heart.
Yeah.
And it's easy drinking style of beer. It was always designed, a beer you just could drink in quantity, really, and was, and that's sort of what we do. We have tweaked the recipe over the few years. Biggest tweak being the yeast. We shifted our yeast to FrofTech Buddy, and started getting really good results with that. So that highly recommend that yeast. Beautiful, subtle yeast ester profile on it. And and I think we've had some good success lately. We got a gold medal at the BGNZ with this one. Recently. So quite happy.
It's a pretty classic blonde, and it ticks all the BGCB guidelines. It's So what was your approach to putting this beer together?
I mean, drinkability. Drinkability first and foremostly. So it's Pilsner. It's about a third wheat. So just to make it even sort of easier and give it a little bit of sort of silky mouthfeel to it. It's really only got a handful of hops. And obviously getting the yeast right is key, because really what you're tasting mainly is fermentation characteristics, really, on a fairly light malt base. So but having said that makes it very unforgiving, so you've got to be real careful in the process. So my recommendations would be just a really long boil off and a nice long boil, and and then careful in the packaging.
I think it's a thing that homebrewers learn quite quickly, that it's actually surprisingly hard to make a beer like this that's kind of crisp, easy drinking, clean, versus when you're chucking a load of vanilla and milk sugar and berries in a beer. It's be delicious, right? You just chuck expensive stuff in. But to make a quality beer like this that wins medals takes some work.
So again, so as I say, the trick is just look at every little step and do it thoroughly. Don't cut any corners.
So were you are you a trumpet player?
No, I'm not a trumpet player. No.
Just wondering about the Bell End Brewing. Maybe you must just be a fan of brass instruments, I guess.
Well, my friends Ben and Charlie, they suggested the name, and I said, "Oh yeah, sounds good. I like it." Never really questioned it.
But you didn't stick with that.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any other connotations to it, but
So where did the name Three Sisters come from?
So I've got 3 daughters, and there's also a Taranaki landmark called Three Sisters. So it had kind of a dual meaning, a sort of Taranaki meaning, and then a sort of personal meaning. So that was the thought behind that.
Yeah, really cool. And who's the person on the label?
Who is the person on the label? Yeah, a lot of speculation about that. It is actually a completely random person. It's basically from a random photo of a woman on a beach. So I don't know who the person is, but there is a woman somewhere who doesn't know that she's been an iconic part of our branding for 3 years.
We'll never know.
Now 6 years, actually. 6 years.
Who is the blonde on the blonde?
So I don't know.
Hey, we're not going to keep you forever. I know you've got a lot on, but you guys have seen some pretty massive growth in the past few years. You see all these awards with the crowd funds. You've ramped up your sort of brew kit. You got a canning line recently. A minute, could you give us a real speedy tour around the brewery and even into the tap room if you're able?
No, we totally can do that, because I was just going to have a little look around if I could find my original fermenter that we first started out in my basement on a little 50-litre pot, which I've actually still got the 50-litre fermenter kicking around, and I can't quite see it in the brewery, but I can show you the progress because I've got every tank I've ever used still. So so in my basement I had these little guys. You might see them. I'll move out a bit. The little guys in the corner there now, Ernie and Reg. So they were in my basement, along with the 300-liter brew house that we had. And then when we moved into the old bank, when we got our hospo space, I'd actually was in. It was almost an afterthought because I'd actually bought these two 600-liter fermenters, and I was going to put these in my basement. You see, I was going to up the size to 600 liters. So these guys were on the way when I decided to move it into the bank, and these have got named Ben and Charlie's Bell End and Kaiteki FC, which is the football team I play for now and again. So they all sponsored my fermenters when we moved in to help with the install costs. So those guys are there. Then we put 4 10-barrel tanks, which are behind me there later on, and those we bought as part of our crowdfund about 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, cool.
And then put them into the bank. But actually, see, we're actually in a new brewing part of the bank. So if I move out, because we moved all of the tanks. Yeah, we moved all of the tanks out of the brewery to make way for these big ones. So we've got those are 30 hectoliter tanks. We've got 5 of those.
Okay, so they're 1,000 liters.
Yeah, so we've got quite a big capacity, and this is the bar here behind us.
Right. Did I hear a mayor in the background?
Yeah, that was a mayor in the background. Yeah,
love that guy.
Yeah. What did you call it? Duffman. Yeah, Duffman's doing great.
The Taranaki Good Beer champion, Hamea. So
yeah, exactly.
Proper walking around the country, spreading vibes. Very cool.
Yeah. So
great.
So that's where we're at. So this is my experimental space out the back here now.
Yeah.
And and then the if something's popular, we'll chuck it through the big tanks here.
So are you still doing 300-liter mini batches for the tap room?
We do. I mean, the most recent thing I did on those was a little experiment with hard sodas. So I just chucked some things in there. So we do, experiment stuff in there, which is pretty handy. So I can make because our brew house is still pretty small, only 600-liter brew house.
Yeah.
But I can do one brew and fill these 2 little tanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have a small brew house, but it's actually quite useful for trying lots of different things. It means quite a few batches to fill the big tanks, but yeah.
Yeah, long brew day to fill one of the big tanks, hey?
Yeah, it's two double brew days in a row to fill the big tanks. Yeah.
Yeah, crikey.
Yeah.
You work that brew kit hard.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's really handy when we want to do experimental stuff. It's a real nice size.
Yeah. Brilliant setup. Well, for everyone watching along, I would recommend you pop along to visit Joe and Mayor at the bank, which is it's a really cool building, isn't it? It's place you've got there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's the original New Plymouth Savings Bank, I think, built in about 1920. So it's got sort of Greek pillars. It's got some really beautiful architecture, original architecture that we've shoehorned the brewery into it. So that has challenges. But it makes it fun.
Yeah, and a cool bit of artwork around there from the Zesk as well. He's got some good paintings on the walls.
Yeah, we've got some artwork from Zesk. We've got a Malarkey out the back actually, and Phil Jones got some artwork from him as well. So yeah, it's pretty interesting artwork. Pretty good decor.
Oh, it's cool that you do so much with just like artists and with the community, and like with your football club, because you've got a beer that there's a beer linked to the football club, right?
Yeah, we made a hazy Kaiteki HB's hazy. Yeah, that's quite good. I think we got a gold last year for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice. At the BGNZ.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. I think the BJ subscribers are going to have a real good time drinking this blonde tonight. Cracking beer.
Yeah.
Real sessionable. Just a shame we couldn't put 6 cans in the box.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers. Thanks.
Well, cheers, Joe. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks. Cheers, Luke.
Catch you later.